Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Talk, here to talk about Evil Dead Rise. I thought it was just fine. It's not as great as I hoped for it to be, it was not as great as the reviews made it out to be, but it was not mediocre, it was not horrible at all. I still recommend it. It is a very solid movie, it was a good fun time. Bloody time, actually. So if you're a fan of horror movies, fan of Evil Dead, I think you will like this one. The cast is great, the scares were good, the gore is great. It's a mixture of practical and CGI, and it works out very well. The sound design is great. I thought the music was okay, but the sound design, wow, it is the best part about this movie. And yeah, it is a very solid, bloody horror movie. I just wish that it was a bit more than that. And again, my expectations for it were a bit too high, so I guess that's my fault. Compared to the rest of the movies in the series, I would say this is kind of the weakest one for me. I like Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness more than this. I like Evil Dead 2013 Remake better than this. But I would say that I think why I favor Evil Dead 2013 Remake more than this is because it does feel familiar. Like I see more of the callbacks, and it is a remake of the first one with elements of Evil Dead 2 and 3, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness in it. So I guess that's why I like that more than this. But I would say that I give this movie props for trying something different, trying a different location, different kinds of characters and different situations and everything. So I give this movie a lot of credit for doing that, and I'm happy that it's going in this direction. I would say that I was a bit confused about what this movie actually is. So it is a sequel to the Sam Raimi Evil Dead movies. But it's a little confusing because the Necronomicon looks nothing like it did in those movies. So unless they meant that this is an evolution, but of the Necronomicon, and also like the events of Army of Darkness that actually happened in this universe, because for a long time the Army of Darkness movie was not canon because of the rights issue. But I believe that it's finally in the timeline of the Ash versus Evil Dead series, so they actually acknowledge Army of Darkness in that movie. So yeah, that's why I'm confused. Does Army of Darkness exist? Did Ash actually go back in time, the time travel, medieval knights, King Arthur, and then he comes back from that? So that's why I'm a little confused about that. And also, this is nothing not related to the Evil Dead 2013 remake, even though the Deadites in this movie look and act exactly like the Deadites from the Evil Dead 2013 remake. So that's why I was very confused, because if this is actually a sequel to the Sam Raimi movies, then the Deadites should have been like, all grotesque with so much makeup on them, with a lot lumps all over their face, so they look nothing like they did before. But because these people look pretty much the exact same like they did, when they're possessed, just with the eyes are a different texture, and sometimes if they got a cut over here, black veins are coming out, but you can still recognize them. And they're basically the same ones from 2013 version. So that's why I was a bit confused about that. But I guess my biggest complaint about this movie is that this movie is not really funny. And that's the thing. I think that's just a me problem, because I always thought the Evil Dead series were a good blend of horror and comedy. It's a horror comedy, the whole series. Evil Dead 1 leaned more into horror, but there's still a lot of funny stuff to it. I guess it's because of the way it aged, and when you watch it year after year, it does become funny. But Evil Dead 2 was a great blend of horror and comedy. Army of Darkness gravitated more towards comedy, but still, I thought it was a very entertaining movie. I still like the action in it, and also the horror, and also the comedy. So I thought it was a good blend. Army of Darkness I really loved. Then Evil Dead 2013 Remake, that movie was serious, but there was still a bit of silliness to it, especially when I forgot the name of the character, the one who read the book out loud, the one who started the whole thing, and he keeps getting tortured horribly. Like by his girlfriend, he got slashed in the eye, so he was trying to take a glass shard out, and then later on, he was getting shot by a nail gun, and also he was trying to block the crowbar, and the crowbar bashed his hand into two, and he just keeps getting tortured horribly silly compared to everyone else. And then there's the part where David was going inside the basement trying to confront Mia, and Mia was just throwing him all across the room. But the way it was shot, the way it was framed, the way he was thrown around like a puppet, yeah, it reminds me so much of the Sam Raimi Evil Dead movies when Ash Williams was thrown across the room in the exact same way. So it did have a sense of humor. Here, I don't think there's really anything that's like incredibly funny. So it was just taking itself very seriously, and I'm okay with that. I am, and I'm glad that it took itself seriously. But at the same time, I felt like it lost a bit of its character because there should be something, comical in this movie. But I didn't really see it. Maybe that's just me. Maybe to you guys, it's just funny as hell, and I don't see anything that was funny. So that's how I felt about. That's a little bit of a disappointment for me for the Evil Dead Rise. Um, so if I have to go on, I have to go into spoilers. So again, like I said, I do recommend this movie. I do like it. It's just not as great as I hope for it to be, especially since all the reviews were praising it, especially compared to Evil Dead 2013 remake. But I like that way more than this. Okay, so spoilers. All right, so when this movie started off, oh my god, after the Warner Bros. Logo, after the New Line Pictures logo, then we have this like a long tracking shot through the woods, like the evil spirit from the movies. And then we see the credits, and then after that, we get a little bit of chaos when there were three people. There's two cousins and the cousin's boyfriend. And one cousin wanted to check up on the her cousin who was sick, and then she checked up on her, and it turned out this cousin was, I believe her name was Jessica. She was possessed by the Deadite. So she woke up, she grabbed her cousin, and then ripped her scalp off, threw it on the pier. And then her boyfriend is a bit of an asshole, but he was peeing in the lake, and then he realized that his friend had her scalp taken off, and then his girlfriend was holding the drone, and it's still spinning. The boyfriend could have turned it off at any point, but he decided not to. He had all the time in the world. But yeah, she held the drone, she slashed her face with it, and I thought it was going to be horrible, but no, she only has like a couple cuts over here, so she looks really, really fine. And then that made her fall into the water. Here's the thing I really like about this moment. The boyfriend, who was a bit of an asshole, immediately jumped in after her in the lake, trying to get to her. Immediately. I gotta say, bravo, man. Sure, at first I thought, oh, yeah, he's gonna die. He's gonna die horribly, and he does. But still, at that point, you're like, he doesn't really deserve it. Because he cares so much about his girlfriend that he jumped in right after her. Usually, people like these in horror movies, they're like, oh, shit, fuck that, I'm out of here. So they only care about themselves. They're even bigger assholes, and then they cause more trouble. But no, this guy actually loves his girlfriend so much that he jumped in right after her. I love that. He gets his head cut off by his girlfriend. And then, oh man, I gotta say, this is probably the best moment of the movie. So Jessica was rising from the lake. And then you see the opening the title card, Evil Dead Rise, as she's rising with the incredibly loud musical score in the background, and it's horrifying. It's so good. Like, she's rising, then it says Evil Dead Rise. Beautiful, brilliant. I loved it. When it comes out on Blu-ray, I just want to watch that part over and over again because that was a banger opening, man. That was so good. And then it cuts to one day earlier. That's what it said. So I kind of hate that because now we know how it's supposed to end. So that's why I'm a bit disappointed, because when I saw the clips of the lake house and everything in the trailers, I was like, oh, is this like another group of people? Maybe this is a flashback or something like that. No, it's a flash forward. So we basically know what's going to happen at the end. And that's a bit of a bummer. So it says one day earlier, and then we focus on this woman named Beth. I think she says she's a guitarist, but she is like a electrician. So she can figure out how to fix machines. electrical equipment and also like musical equipment and stuff like that too. So she was in the bathroom. She was taking a pregnancy test, and then she realized that she's pregnant. Then it cuts to an apartment building in Los Angeles. And then we get to meet the rest of the family. So it's Beth's sister, Ellie, and she has three children. I don't know who the oldest one is. I think it's Danny. So the three children. One is Danny, the other one is Bridget, and the last one, the tiny one, is Cassie. And the little girl who played Cassie, man, I believe that they said introducing this actress as Cassie. Man, she is very, very good. I can't wait to see her more in other movies because she is excellent. She has yeah, she has a career ahead of her, especially wants to continue on with horror movies. She is fantastic. So, but yeah, every actor and actress I thought did a very, very good job in this. I thought Danny, Bridget, and Cassie were really, really likable, and I felt bad when Ellie gets possessed and she can't be saved anymore. So we focus on this family, and Ellie is having marital troubles with her husband. We never see their husband. Her husband moved away from the family, and then but Beth didn't even know about that. And apparently, Ellie tried to tell her 2 months ago, but Beth was very busy with her career. So now the family's gotten together, and they're on this floor. I forgot which floor it was. I think it was the seventh floor or something like that. And then the neighbors, there's one neighbor that's two people. It was a boy that's around the same age as Bridget that has the hots for her, and he has a little brother. And then that's one room, and then the other room, there's a guy who I think cares a bit for Ellie. So there's that guy, and then we get the old man who ends up with a shotgun. Yeah, so that's everyone on this floor. This apartment is hell. This apartment is terrible, man. Oh my god, everything about it is falling apart and everything. Yeah, and it turns out that the family was gonna leave by the end of the month or something like that. Anyway, so it's all fine. So when Beth and Ellie were talking, there was an earthquake, and at that time, the children were picking up pizza. And when the earthquake happens, there was a giant, there's a little bit of a hole in the garage parking lot. So Danny investigates, and then he sees there's like a box with vinyl records, and then he goes deeper, and then he sees a bunch of crosses in hanging, and then he sees the Necronomicon, which again looks really different from the other movies. So this Necronomicon is still bound in human flesh, but the difference is that at the on the side, it's locked with a bunch of like teeth. So it kind of reminds me of like a mimic. From like Final Fantasy, other role playing games with mimics and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of that design. So Danny decides to take this, and I kind of have a problem with this. I know that they established that Danny does horror stories, like hauntings and stuff like that, because he was mentioning about this place used to be like a bank or something like that, and the original owner is like a ghost haunting the hallways and stuff like that. So yeah, he does take an interest in that, but I kind of wish that they emphasize more like maybe he was a bit possessed, not like fully possessed from a deadite, but he was hypnotized or tranced into trying to get the Necronomicon, and then later on check up the records or something like that, because if he's doing this on his own, yeah, I kind of hate him for that. Because yes, I understand it's not like he knows what the Necronomicon could do, but at this point, in the year 2023, if you've seen so many horror movies and you're a big fan of them, and you see shit like this, you're probably thinking, no, I should probably stay away. I should not read the Latin. If anyone's seen Cabin in the Woods, Marty said that. That was hilarious. Just do not, I'm drawing a fucking line in the sand. Do not read the fucking Latin. But, if Danny didn't pick it up, then there would be no movie. But I kind of wish that, I don't know, there was something, because I did not get that. If he was kind of hypnotized to do that, then I guess I didn't really hear it, because I did hear some whisperings, but it didn't say like, oh, pick up the book, Danny, pick up the book, Danny, or something like that, He just hears some woo, some noises like that, and that was it. Unless that's him being hypnotized, but I feel like he's doing all this on his own. So, yeah, he brings it up, and Bridget even warns him not to do anything with the book. So the book opens up because Danny was bleeding. A few drops of blood was on the book, and then it opened, and Danny proceeds to just keep doing the bad things. So he decides to check out the vinyl records. There were 3 of them total, I believe. So he listened to the first one. Nothing bad happened, but when he gets to the second one, then it was trying to the second one was trying to recite the words from the book that would make the Deadites come to life. So when he realized that it was trying to say the words, he immediately tried to stop it. Like, he pressed the stop button, didn't work. He tried to get the vinyl record needle to come off, it didn't work. He got shocked. So, at least, I'm happy about that. At least he tried. Like, when he realized that, oh shit, maybe he shouldn't do this anymore, he tried to stop, but it just kept going. So, I'm happy about that twist, because it's not like in Evil Dead 2013 remake, where the guy's like, yeah, let me just read all 4 words. And even in The Mummy 1999, the old researcher guy, he's like, no, you must not read the pages from the book. Man. So yeah, at least he tried, but his mother Beth gets possessed, and then we get the scene from the trailers where she's dunking all the eggs onto the frying pan, and then she's contorting, and also her spine is coming out and all that stuff, and then she threw up a lot. Like, my God, that's a lot of throw up. And then she passes out, and people think that she died. So later on, she does get more and more possessed, and she stabs Ellie through the hand at one point with a piece of the glass. So man, that was a very, very good effect. And then she attacked her daughter, Bridget, and so I don't know what this thing is. I think it's like some kind of solder machine or something like that. So shoot. So Ellie took this machine, stabbed it in her head, took it out, then made like a deep cut into Bridget's face. So at that point, you realize, okay, now Bridget is infected, because it's still going by the same rules like from Evil Dead 2013 remake, that if you become infected with the blood of the Deadite, then you'll be possessed as well. So that's why the blood was on that machine. That machine cut into Bridget, so now she's going to be possessed soon. So the gang managed to get Ellie out of the apartment, and that's when she starts attacking the other neighbors. So she ripped off the arms of a kid, and even though they showed the ripping off the arms part off screen, but when you saw the body, yeah, the arms did came off. So bravo, you killed off a young kid. And then she bit off an eyeball from the one of the neighbors who cares for her. So she bit off his eye and spit it at another guy, who chokes on it and dies. And then she slashed the throat of that guy, and then the old man actually shot her with the shotgun, but he ends up getting cut in half. So that was a bit of a bummer. I was hoping that he would last a bit more, but yeah, he had to die at that point. So now Bridget is starting to get the signs of the possession. So now you see black veins coming off of her cut, and then she has a black ooze coming from her face, and every time she throws up, a bunch of maggots keep coming up. So that was a very good effect too. And it reminded me a lot of Poltergeist, when the guy saw the maggot in the meat and stuff like that. That it reminded me of that, and I gotta say it's much better than a Poltergeist remake. So then she gets more and more possessed, and then she starts eating this glass cup, and she's chewing it and swallowing the glass pieces because she wants to get rid of what's in her tummy. Man, seriously, these actors and actresses being the Deadites, they're all fantastic. So Bridget was really, really good. And I like that her eyes became like a golden yellow for a Deadite. So it made her adorable in a way, but at the same time terrifying. So yeah, she has a very, very beautiful gold eyes for a Deadite. And then she attacks Beth, and she grabbed the cheese grater and started shredding the skin off of Beth's leg. Oh my god. Unfortunately, she only did it once, but that one time though, oh my god, you see the lacerations into her leg. Oh my god, that was, again, I was kind of hoping that she would keep doing it and just gets worse and worse, but yeah, at the same time, that one effect though, man, the makeup department did such a great job with that. So Bridget ends up Bridget was trying to chase Danny and Cassie, and then when she see Cassie and tries to tries to go after her, Cassie lifted up Stephanie. Stephanie. So yes, I didn't mention Stephanie is actually a doll's head on top of like a stick, but that stick was broken because of Bridget fighting with Cassie, so it broke into two, and it has a very, very sharp end. So I guess it's karma. So Cassie lifted up Stephanie and stabbed Bridget in the face through the mouth. So, and then she fell down. It seemed like she's dead, but no, they're going by the rules that you have to decapitate them in order to kill them. So because she only got stabbed through the mouth, she's not decapitated or anything, not amputated off or anything. So that's why she is still able to keep being alive. Let's see. So Ellie realized that she could go through the air vents, and then while Beth is trying to figure out how to stop everything, so she decides to listen to the final record, trying to figure out how to stop everyone, but it turns out, no, you can't really save anyone. You just have to kill them and chop them up into pieces and everything. So when she realized the truth, she was attacked by Ellie. And at the same time, Danny was being attacked by Bridget, and Danny stabbed Bridget in the gut with a knife, and then Bridget took it out and stabbed Danny in the arm. So because the knife had Bridget's blood in it on it, that means now Danny is possessed. But just to make it worse, Bridget decides to throw up blood all over Danny, so a lot of it went into his mouth, so it doesn't matter. He's gonna get more and more possessed. So, and then she stabbed Danny in the chest, and then he will die from his wounds and become a Deadite from that. And here's the thing, a little bit earlier, I saw this in the trailers and I was very worried about it because I hate it when, people do this in horror movies. They do incredibly stupid things. And I do understand that Cassie is a young girl, but I hated that in the trailers that they showed this part where Cassie goes up to the door and possessed Ellie was saying, hey, open up now. And then Cassie just opens the door and almost gets herself killed. So I was dreading that moment, and I finally see it in the movie. And I still didn't kind of like it, but I was okay with it after the movie ended. So at that time, Cassie hears Ellie humming and singing, and so she goes up to the door, and Ellie persuades Cassie to open the door for her. Cassie was very hesitant. She's like, are you sure you're going to be okay? All that stuff. And then when she finally unlocks it, then Ellie tries to strangle her. And no one gets hurt from this. Yeah, Cassie did get hurt, but she didn't die from it or get deeply hurt from it. So Beth managed to save Cassie, and Danny pushed back the door. So no one got hurt because of this. So at least at that point, I was fine with it because Cassie didn't get anyone else killed because of her action. So because of this moment, Cassie decides to be a big help her. So later on, Cassie was using scissors to cut off a doll's head to put on Stephanie. But when Ellie was telling her where the scissors were, Cassie hid it under the couch or something like that at the time. So when Cassie was under the couch, she sees the pair of scissors, and Beth was Beth was being attacked by Ellie. She was about to die. So Cassie threw the scissors at Beth. Beth takes it and shoves it up the nose of Ellie. So Cassie helped there, and then later on, Cassie helped again in the garage. So even though she did a stupid thing by opening the door, I understand she is a young kid and she did make up for it in the end. So I was happy about that. I'm so happy that this movie is like, you know what? We got to find an equilibrium for this. Yes, she did something stupid, but she will do something smart later on that will help everyone love her. So that's that I'm happy about that. Usually people just make stupid mistakes and then they never get redeemed, you know, like in what was it, that Dave Bautista zombie movie, Army of the Dead, when his daughter did a very, very stupid thing and everyone hated her because of that. I like the actress. Ella Purnell was really good in it, but still, I hated her character because of that moment. Oh man. Anyway, so for here, and then now Beth decides to be tries to save Cassie. She's trying to get them off the floor at least. So when she hears that there's a fire escape through this room, but the problem is the room is fully locked, and they were trying to bang off the door earlier, but they couldn't. So now, so she did hear that the oh no, she didn't hear it. There was a suggestion from the old man that he was gonna blast it wide open with a shotgun. So later on, Beth sees the shotgun and she tries to use it on the door, but then she got distracted by Ellie. So then she shot off Ellie's leg and then later shot off Ellie's arm. So my God, the gore effects on this were really, really good. So so Beth and Cassie missed their chance to go down the fire escape, so they have no choice but to go into the elevator of doom. So once Cassie and Beth go inside the elevator, then we get a callback to the Evil Dead movies. So all the Deadites, every single one of them, keeps saying, dead by dawn, dead by dawn, dead by dawn, dead by dawn. Oh man, I was grinning, man. I loved it. I really, really loved it. And it was terrifying too. The gore effects were great. The actors are so good. I love this part. So the elevator closes and then it's filled with blood. Now, I'm a little confused on how this works. So where did the blood come from? I know in Evil Dead 1, 2, the blood just came out of nowhere too. It just happened to seep into the cabin and stuff like that. I guess it's just supernatural magic bullshit. And also in Evil Dead remake, blood came from the skies as well. But here though, the blood seeped into the elevator. Okay. And we established that if you get infected with the blood of a Deadite, then you'll become possessed. So, Beth got stabbed through the hand. She got cheese grated on, too. So she has open wounds on her. And Cassie got a little cut on her lip because of what happened with Bridget and Ellie at the time. So now they're drenched in this blood, but they never get possessed. So I guess this blood is not the blood of a Deadite or something like that. It's just regular blood. Where did the blood come from? You know, that's why I was a little confused about this. And yeah, they didn't fully I guess in Evil Dead 2013, you would think, oh, shouldn't Mia be possessed by the Deadite again after that? But maybe it's because she was resurrected, so that's why she has kind of some kind of bullshit shield on her or something like that, so that's why she doesn't become possessed again. I don't know. But at least that was saved for the finale. But here, yeah, the elevator of blood, I don't know. I guess that's not Deadite blood, so they're not possessed. I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, the elevator doors open just like it does from The Shining. And then they're in the garage, and this reminded me so much of Resident Evil 2, where Leon and Ada Wong are in the garage, and they're trying to escape from Mr. X and also the zombie dogs and stuff like that. It reminds me so much of that. So Beth and Cassie goes into the car, and I gotta double check. I don't think it's the exact same card that was used in all the Evil Dead movies as like a callback, but it looks similar, but I don't think it's the same one. I could be wrong. If it's the same one, then maybe it's the lighting that and the camera angles that make it look a little different. It looks just similar to me. It just doesn't look like the same, you know? So they get into the car, they try to escape, but the shutter doors didn't open yet. And when it does open, they try to go, but because there was some like debris or something like that, so the car is stuck. And at this point, all the Deadites of Ellie and Danny and Bridget, they form together, and this reminded me so much of The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing, you know, the one with the two heads that are split together. And yeah, you do see more of it in the 2011 prequel. I don't like that movie anyway. That's why I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, it's, you know, the forms of two bodies, but here it's three because Beth lost a leg, she lost an arm, so now she's being torn open, and Bridget and Danny were combining themselves into her. So it reminds me so much of that thing from The Thing, but at the same time, it reminds me so much of the Rat King from The Last of Us Part 2. The way it was moving and everything too. So that's what it reminded me of. So yeah, this trio, man, you know, all of them forming together with three heads on one body with multiple arms and legs. It was so creepy. It was so horrifying. It was beautiful. It was awesome. I love this monstrosity. Bravo. And what I like is that the Deadites look a little different. Like, Danny has all white eyes. Bridget still has the golden eyes, even though she was burned. So she has no hair. She has burn marks all over her face and everything. And Ellie still has like her nose cut from the scissors, so but she has the red eyes. So yeah, you see all these three just doing this at the same time, and the way they move too, like a spider. You know what? It reminded me of that spider thing from Elden Ring. I forgot the Scion. It's like the first boss you try to fight off, you know. So it reminded me so much of that too. So yeah, I wonder what inspired this creation. Was it the one from The Thing? Was it from Elden Ring? Was it from you know, the what's it? The Last of Us Part 2? I want to know. I want to see the behind the scenes of this because it is so good. So then we get this giant boss fight against the trio, and Beth was at first it was like a little chase scene, and then when Beth and Cassie almost got under the shutters, but then the trio grabbed Cassie away and was about to chop her head off with a chainsaw. That was awesome. So then Ellie just bashed the shutters in, and then we see this awesome point of view where the camera's right in front of Beth, and then she's running towards Ellie, Bridget, and Danny, and then she shot at them with a shotgun, and then she almost got herself cut with the chainsaw that they threw at her, and then they were about to bring her into the shredder. Oh, man. So what I love about this is that Cassie did run away at first, but then she was looking and looking and looking, and when she realized how the shredder works, so when the Bridget part of the trio turned on the shredder and they're trying to drag Beth into it, and then Cassie managed to sneak in and then turn the shredder off. So Beth managed to get away, grab the chainsaw, and then she revs it up, and then she tells Cassie to start the shredder again. So then Beth charges at the trio and keeps pushing them and sawing them and stuff like that. So then we see Bridget get eviscerated, then we see Danny get eviscerated, and later on Ellie gets eviscerated. And man, what a boss fight, man. And the gore effects again, beautiful. Oh man, everything about it was so good. Oh man. So yeah, the whole movie from that point was really Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I am so happy that Cassie was not like Timmy from Jurassic Park, where during that scene with the Velociraptors, where Alan and Ellie were trying to guard the door, but Ellie could not get the shotgun because if she gets off from the door, then the Velociraptors would come in, and Lex is trying to hack into the database. What does Tim do? Tim does nothing. He's just banging on the chair like this the entire time. So I was so happy that Cassie actually helped out for this. So I am really happy about that. So the trio is done. There's still Deadites on the upper floor, There's the old man, there's the two brothers, and there's four Deadites on the upper floor. So I thought that the ending is going to show that some of them escaped and then stuff like that. Maybe they did, because they did show Jessica come down to the garage. She realized that there's blood everywhere and stuff like that, and then you hear the moans of the Deadites, and then soon it cuts to black. So I assume that one of the four, or all four, got after her, so maybe that's what happened. Beth and Cassie go leaves the garage. They're all bloody. They bring a chainsaw. It's Los Angeles. If you go outside at dawn covered in blood with a chainsaw, I'm pretty sure that something bad is gonna happen, This is not like in the cabin in the woods or anything, where you finally get to a local town or something like that. No, you're all bloodied, and you have a chainsaw with you. Something bad, I'm pretty sure, is gonna happen. But anyway, I'm glad that Beth decides to take the chainsaw. I like that they both stop, they see the chainsaw, and then she takes it, and then that's it. I don't think there's anything after the credits. I left during mid-credits because I checked up Wikipedia, and it didn't seem like there's anything else after that. So, yeah, unless I'm wrong, but I don't think there was anything, because I was kind of hoping that maybe there was another cameo from Bruce Campbell at the end, like Evil Dead 2013 remake, where he shows his face in the light and he says, "Groovy." But no, nothing like that. But yeah, Bruce Campbell does make a cameo in this. He is one of the voices in the vinyl records. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like, maybe we shouldn't mess with that. That's why it's called the Book of the Dead. Something like that, He said something like that. But yeah, when you hear it, you're like, that is Bruce Campbell, isn't it? So yeah, Bruce Campbell is in Evil Dead. What a fucking liar. Oh, man. So yeah, that's how I feel about Evil Dead Rise. Again, I did have a fun time with it. I had a bloody fun time. It's just, again, maybe my expectations were too high. Maybe if I think on it more, maybe it ends up being one of my most favorite Evil Dead movies. But for now, though, I gotta say the first three movies I like more than this. The 2013 remake I like more than this. But that doesn't mean that this movie is bad or mediocre. It's still good. It's just my expectations, I guess, were high. Sorry. But I highly recommend it. Again, everything about the cast was great. The gore effects were good. The kills were good. And yeah, the atmosphere, the lighting. And here's the funny thing, because I watched Lee Cronin, who's the director of this movie. I watched his previous movie called The Hole in the Ground. And I was watching that to prepare myself for this. And after watching it, I was like, okay, so that little girl is going to be a Deadite. Yeah, that's what I was thinking the entire freaking time after watching The Hole in the Ground, because the kid in The Hole in the Ground was creepy as hell, and we got the same director. I assumed that kid, Cassie, would become a Deadite. But no, she did not become a Deadite, so that's why I was a bit disappointed in that. Honestly, I was thinking two endings the entire time, because I was hoping that this movie doesn't play it very safe. So I was thinking two endings. One, that Cassie ends up being a Deadite, and Beth has no choice but to kill her. That's one ending I was thinking of. The other ending, I was thinking that Beth ends up being possessed by a Deadite, and Cassie had no choice but to kill her. That's why there's the Shredder. Beth was trying to fight off the Deadite, but she realized she's losing, so she tries to sacrifice herself, and Cassie helps her to kill her, That was the second ending. But no, we got the safe ending. Both Beth and Cassie live. And there's really nothing really wrong about that ending, and I'm fine with that ending. But at the same time, I was thinking the other two because of the hole in the ground. So yeah, I kind of wish that Cassie ended up being a deadite and it was very tragic and Beth had no choice but to kill her. I was kind of hoping that she become a deadite. But again, it's Hollywood. They don't like dead kids, you know? I mean, people are still crying over The Last of Us when Sarah died. I mean, I showed my father the first episode of The Last of Us, and he's not a fan of horror movies. He's not a fan of zombie movies even. But he was actually digging the episode until Sarah died, and he's like, nope, that's it. I'm done. He's just done. He doesn't care if there's another girl taking Sarah's place. No, I'm done. Oh, man. So, yeah, that's how I felt about what should have happened. But again, I'm fine with this ending. If they're making a sequel to this, with Cassie and Cassie and Beth becoming badass, deadite killers, I'm fine with that. But again, I'm a little disappointed that this has no connection with the 2013 remake because there's no mention of Mia or anything. It's just, they do mention the cabin in that photo, and there's a priest holding the Necronomicon, but that's basically just it. I'm a little disappointed about that. But anyway, if so far I heard this movie is doing well, maybe they are working on a sequel to this. And sure, it's a bummer that Bruce Campbell decides to retire as Ash, that he would not come back at all. But who knows? Maybe he would change his mind because we got Michael Keaton back as the Batman in the Flash movie. So maybe in a few years, Bruce Campbell's like, nah, I'll be donning the chainsaw and the arm one last time. You know, that'll be cool. I know the continuity would be all over the place, but again, I do want Bruce Campbell to have one last outing as Ash Williams. And yes, we have the Ash versus Evil Dead series as well, but again, I kind of want something that connects all these universes, you know? So that's how I feel. Okay, what you guys think if you watched the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Later.